Hello and welcome to this video on CSS display property. The CSS display property is used to define or specify how an element should be displayed. Every HTML element is displayed by default either inline or as a block element. I have got my sample web page on the right and my HTML code on the left. I've got a style tag, but I have not applied any styling yet. I just want to explain what a block and inline element is. So every HTML element by default is displayed either in block or inline. So I'll give you an example. A block element or a block level element always starts on a new line and takes up as much space as possible. So it stretches out as far as it can. So examples of a block level element includes the H tags like H1 to H6. They are all block level element. Also, the paragraph tag is a block level element because by default it is displayed on a separate line. So block level elements always start on a new line and it will take up as much space as possible. It stretches as far as it can. Other examples of block level elements include divs. Divs are block level, paragraph tags, forms, headers, footers, section, and so on. So those are all block level elements. They always start on a new line. On the other hand, inline elements, an inline element does not start on a new line and takes up very little space. An example of an inline element is an image. So when images are displayed, they are displayed in line and they take up very minimal space. So I'll show you an example. So these are the images. So by default, when images load, they appear in line. As you can see, these images here, despite the fact that if you look in the code, they are written underneath each other. So this is the code for the image. If you notice, the tulip comes first and then the jellyfish and then the penguin. But when they are displayed in line in a horizontal way. While see that? They are displayed in horizontal way. While the H1 tag, this is a H1 tag and this is a paragraph tag. They are displayed in separate lines. Look at this H1 here, that's this. And if you look at the paragraph tag there, that is this there. So you got the H1 tag and then this vegetables here is a paragraph. See, I put a background just behind the H1 tag so that you can see. So with the block level element, they will try and stretch as far as they can, and while the inline element tends to take up minimal space as possible, but they all stack up in line. So the images are by default an inline element. H1 tags, H tag, that is H1 to H6 tags, are block level elements. Paragraph, block level element. Anything that starts on a new line is a block level element. The display property, the CSS display property, is used to change the default display of an element. So for example, the default display for the images is inline, but we can use the display property to change that. The two popular values that are used with the display property is block and inline. So I want to display these images in block. By default, they are displayed in line. So if I do that, then you see what they look like. So if I run this code now, the images will now be displayed in block, that is in a vertical way. You see that? So I've used the display property to change the default display behavior of the images. In this video, we experimented with the display property. The display property is used to change the default display behavior of an HTML element. There are two main values you can use with the display property. So you can use to display inline or block. We went through an example where we changed the default display of an image that by default is displayed inline. We use the display property to change the display to block. When something is displayed in block, it is vertical. When something is displayed in line, it's displayed horizontally. So an example of an inline element by default are images, and an example of a block element by default are heading tags, paragraphs, and divs. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video you've had some insight into how to use the display property to change the default display of an element. Thank you so much for watching, and bye for now.